In Dynamic Ship Simulator 3, the best ships in the game can make you millions of credits in just a few hours, but when you first start the game, you start with a tiny fishing cutter that only makes 14,000 credits every hour. In this video, I will be showing you everything that you need to know to work your way up from a tiny fishing cutter to the largest ships in the game. When you first join DSS 3, you will immediately get the fishing cutter for free. To spawn the fishing cutter, click the big spawn button. Although you can spawn it in multiple places, I recommend you spawn at Hobbleline as it is the most efficient place to fish. With that being said, click the big button that says Hobbleline and spawn the fishing cutter at Hobbleline C. Once you spawn in, the first thing you want to do is press this icon at the top of your screen. After that, click on the fleet tab and click on the biggest fleet there is and click the join button. When you join a fleet, you will get a percentage of everyone else's income as long as they are also in the fleet. The percentage of income you get from other people is based off of how many ships you own, so the more you own, the more income you will receive from other people. Because of this, once you get a little bit of money, I recommend you buy some cheap boats like the jet ski or the pilot boat. Once you have joined a fleet, press the exit button to close the screen. Then press M to open your map. Once your map is open, locate Hobbleline on the map and find the large purple circle that says fishing area inside of it. Once you've done that, double click on the outside of the circle. This will create a waypoint that will show up even when the map is closed. Once you've placed the waypoint, close the map and pilot your boat to the waypoint. Once you have started moving in the direction of the fishing area, press 1 to deploy the fishing nets. Although you can still fish while not in a fishing area, it goes much slower. However, it is good to start fishing before you reach the fishing area so you can complete your fishing trip faster. You are able to see how full your nets are by looking at the percent on the fish net icon at the bottom of your screen. Once you're inside of the fishing area, you will see that your fishing net will start to fill up a lot faster than when you are outside of the fishing area. Once your net gets to be about 80% full, what you're going to want to do is start turning around and head back to the fishing port. Something to keep in mind is that when you turn, your fishing net will be brought back in, so you need to make sure to redeploy it again after you've finished your turn. Once you return to the fishing port, simply pull inside of here, and then once you park over here, you will see that this screen will pop up and you can sell your cod for 2,000 credits. What you're going to want to do is keep doing fishing trips until you get around 10,000 credits. Once you've gotten 10,000 credits, return to the menu. Once you're in the menu, go to the quest tab over here and then select the Cannon Fodder quest and hit the start button. Once you've started the quest, go ahead and spawn at Woolen D. Once you've spawned in, go ahead and start running all the way over to this yellow marker. Once you get to this building, go up here and talk to this man. Once you talk to this man, he will tell you that he wants you to destroy 5 different bases and that as a reward, he will give you 50,000 credits. Those 50,000 credits are the main reason that you want to do this quest, as it can really help you get your first ship. Once you get in this boat, go ahead and head over to the first yellow marker. Once you've started heading towards your first yellow marker, go ahead and hit this button up here. Then, go to the settings tab and turn on PvP. Once you started to turn on PvP, also make it so it's Colonial Wind only. The reason you need to have PvP on is so you can do the quest, and the reason you want to set it to Colonial Wind only is so pretty much nobody else can sink you while you're trying to do the quest. Something to keep in mind while doing this quest is that most of the places you'll be around have super shallow water, so make sure to watch the depth meter when you're doing the quest. Once you get to this first marker, you'll see that people will immediately start shooting at you. What you want to do is press 1 to take control of the front gun on the boat and just start blasting. Once you've killed everyone, get off of your boat and head over to the houses. Then click on them to set them on fire. Once you've set the houses on fire, get back into your boat and head to the next yellow marker. Once you get to the second yellow marker, do the same thing as the last one. Start shooting all the enemies and then burn down the houses. This quest is quite easy and really shouldn't take you too long to complete. All you have to do is just go to a few different bases and burn some houses down. Once you've destroyed all the bases, pilot the boat back to the government building and go talk to the man. As a reward, you'll get 50,000 credits as well as the patrol boat. Now that you've completed the quest, you should have at least 60,000 credits. With those 60,000 credits, what I want you to do is buy the bulk carrier. Once you've bought the bulk carrier, go ahead and spawn on Hobbleline A. Now that you've spawned the bulk carrier, go ahead and take it over to these light blue cranes. Once you get the load cargo prompt, go ahead and hit the green load button. Once you've loaded your ship, open your map and locate this reef area. Once you've located this reef, put a waypoint right in between these two parts right here. Once you've done that, start heading towards the waypoint. Once you get close to your waypoint, open your map and carefully guide yourself in between these two pieces of land. The area on your map that is a tan color indicates that that area is shallow water, so you want to make sure not to get too close to it. Once you've made it through, zoom out and place a new waypoint at the entrance to Puerto Ushuaia. Then, close your map and guide yourself to this waypoint. Once you get close to the harbor, you can click on the green marker to remove it and then slowly guide yourself in. Once you get to be around this area, turn to your left. Then, guide your ship into this dock on your left. Once you get close enough, you should see a prompt that tells you to sell your cargo. Press the green button to sell it. Once you've dropped off your cargo, you're going to want to make the exact same trip again, but backwards. Instead of starting in Habeline, you're going to start at Puerto Ushuaia. So, set a marker in between these two pieces of land, guide yourself through those pieces of land, and then set another marker all the way down at the bulk terminal at Habeline. Once you've set that waypoint, guide yourself to it and sell your cargo at the bulk terminal. You're going to want to keep doing that route over and over again until you get to 160,000 credits. Once you get 160,000 credits, go ahead and buy the oil tanker. Once you've bought the oil tanker, go ahead and spawn it at Habeline A. Now, since this is an oil tanker, you're not going to go to the bulk terminal like you did with the bulk carrier. Instead, you're going to want to turn around and head to the oil terminal. The oil terminal can be found right over here, and when you get close to it, you'll see a prompt to load your oil. Press the green button to load it. Once you've loaded your oil, you're going to want to take the exact same route that you took with the bulk carrier, but instead of dropping it off at the bulk terminal, you're going to drop it off at the oil terminal. So as you can see right now, we are passing by some ice sheets. Now with bigger ships, these are nothing to worry about and you can just pass right through them, but with smaller ships you always want to make sure not to run into them because they will damage your ship. Now of course, once you get to this first waypoint, you're going to want to make sure to carefully guide yourself through these two pieces of land. Then once you've made it through, of course you're going to want to set another waypoint at Puerto Ushuaia, and then you're going to want to go towards that waypoint. Once you get inside the harbor, you're going to want to go to the back left corner to the oil terminal. Once you get close to the oil terminal, you should again, like all the other times, see a prompt to sell your cargo. You may also notice that right next to the oil terminal is a refueling station. Refueling is a very important aspect of DSS3 because when your fuel gets to 0%, you can no longer move. It is important to always make sure your fuel is always at a reasonable amount so you'll never run out of it. Refueling does cost credits, however it isn't very expensive, so it should never be a major concern when it comes to credits. With the oil tanker, you're going to want to keep doing the Habeline to Puerto Ushuaia route until you get to 600,000 credits. Once you get to 600,000 credits, you're going to want to buy the Alabama class container ship. Once you've bought the Alabama class container ship, you're going to want to go ahead and spawn at Woolen A. Now where you load the containers onto your ship is actually right across from where you spawn at those big blue cranes. Once you get close to the blue cranes, like all the other times, press the green load button to load your ship. Once you've loaded your ship with containers, slowly start backing out and make your way out of the harbor. If you ever need to get more fuel, this refuel station on your right is a great option because it is really easy to get to on your way out of the harbor. Once you've made your way out of the harbor, place a waypoint right in between these two sandbars. Once you've made it to your first waypoint, set a second waypoint a little further up. Once you've made it to your second waypoint, set one last waypoint at the entrance to Puerto Ushuaia. Once you get close enough to your green marker, you can click on it to remove it. Once you start approaching the entrance to Puerto Ushuaia, start turning left. Once you get close enough to this dock, you should see the prompt to sell your cargo. Once you sell your cargo, do the exact same route but backwards. You're going to want to keep doing this route until you get to 3 million credits. Once you get to 3 million credits, you're going to want to buy the G2 class carrier. Once you've bought the G2 class carrier, similar to the Alabama class container ship, you're going to want to spawn it at Woolen A. Once you spawned in, you're going to want to go over to those big blue cranes again to load your containers. Now something that's cool about the G2 class carrier is that instead of turning around and going straight into the blue cranes, you can actually just pull out a little bit and then reverse straight into them. The G2 class carrier takes the exact same route as the Alabama class container ship, so you should already be pretty familiar with the route. You're going to want to keep doing the Woolen to Puerto Ushuaia route with the G2 class carrier until you get to 8 million credits. Once you get to 8 million credits, you actually have a choice on which ship you want to buy. You can either buy the Spirit class oil tanker or the INCAT wave-piercing Catamaran. Although they both make almost the exact same amount of money per hour, they both have their advantages. The INCAT's route only takes around 10 minutes, so it's good for people who want to hop on DSS3 for only a few minutes to grind, and for people who don't like to go AFK while grinding. However, since the INCAT is so fast, your nautical miles will not be tracked. The Spirit class oil tanker, however, is much slower than the INCAT, so as a result, is better for people who like to go AFK while grinding. Because it's slower, your nautical miles will also be tracked. Personally, I would choose the INCAT since it goes much faster than the Spirit, and in the end, nautical miles don't really matter. If you choose to buy the Spirit class oil tanker, you're going to want to take the exact same route that you took with the oil tanker from a while ago. But if you choose to buy the INCAT, you're going to want to spawn at Puerto Ushuaia A. After you spawned in, you're just going to quickly want to turn around. Now that you're turned around, just go right over here to the ferry terminal. Once you get to the ferry terminal, go ahead and load your ship with cars. Now that you're loaded with cars, you're going to want to go ahead and go over to Woolen. Once you exit the harbor, go ahead and open your map. Once your map is open, you're going to want to place a waypoint right around here. Then, close your map and go ahead and head to that waypoint. Once you get to the waypoint, go ahead and move your map a little further down to the entrance to Woolen and set another waypoint. Once you've set the waypoint, go ahead and guide yourself to it. Once you get to the waypoint, you're going to want to guide yourself to the ferry terminal. Once you arrive at the ferry terminal, you can then sell your cargo. You're going to want to keep doing the Woolen Puerto Ushuaia routes until you get to 25 million credits. Now that you have 25 million credits, you can buy the current best ship in the game, the Ace class Ro-Ro. After you've bought the Ace class Ro-Ro, go ahead and spawn at Woolen A. Once you spawned in, go ahead and take a right. The Ace class Ro-Ro loads its cars right next to the ferry terminal. Once you get close to the Ro-Ro terminal, go ahead and load your cars. After you've loaded your cars, go to the Ro-Ro terminal at Puerto Ushuaia. Once you get close to entering Puerto Ushuaia, instead of going inside of the harbor, go ahead and turn left and dock along this area right here. Once you get close enough, you'll see the prompt to sell your cargo. Now that you have the current best grinding ship in the game, you can pretty much do anything you want. Personally, I would keep grinding so you can afford every ship and get the Elite Sailor badge. Now before you head off to start your grinding endeavor, here are a few tips. My first tip is that whenever you're using a route that involves Woolen, you should always refuel at Woolen using this refuel station right here. Using this refuel station is the most convenient place for you to refuel. And you should also only ever refuel at Hobline if you're using a route that involves Hobline. However, if you're using an oil tanker or the LNG, it doesn't really matter where you refuel since the oil and LNG terminals are right next to each other at Puerto Ushuaia, which is where you should always be going if you're using an oil tanker or the LNG. Speaking of cargo routes, on screen now you can see a picture that displays the best routes that you can take for every type of cargo. I recommend you familiarize yourself with these routes since you don't really ever want to take a different route than the ones displayed here. Another really important tip is that to easily check how much money and nautical miles you have, you can just click on your name in the top right. Once you click on your name, you can see how many nautical miles you have, how much money you have, and how long you've been in your server. Something that I highly recommend everyone do is disable ship collisions. To turn off ship collisions, press this button at the top of your screen and then go to the settings tab. Once you're in the settings tab, go to the bottom of it and press ship collisions. When ship collisions are off, you can pass through any other ship instead of just running into them and bouncing off. Another thing that's really important to know is how to use your docking thrusters. By pressing either Q or E, you can very slowly move your ship either left or right. As the name suggests, these thrusters can be very useful for docking. Now, this next one isn't really a tip, but more just a piece of useful knowledge. If you do run out of fuel, it's not the end of the world, because when you respawn, you will automatically be given 5% fuel for free. This 5% fuel can be used to get you to the nearest refueling station. With all of that out of the way, that concludes my 2023 money guide. If you enjoyed, a like and subscribe would be greatly appreciated, but until next time, I'll see you all later. Bye!